Hello and welcome to a new colouring video. Today I've got this beautiful brand new colouring book by Kerby Rosanes called Mythic World. I've been really kindly sent this by the publisher and it's another absolutely stunning book. I love the cover. It's got this kind of shiny part on it where the picture is and then the rest like in a nice matte black, so it's really nice. I'll just give a very quick flick through of the gorgeous pictures. I don't know which one I'm going to do yet, so I'm just having a little flick through. That one's nice. I really like that one. I like this one as well. Every single picture is just absolutely beautiful. Just need to pick one. Okay, I've finally picked them. I think I'm going to go with this one. So I decided to do it in watercolour pencils, but then stupidly I forgot to put a primer down on the page, so this didn't go too well. I just completely forgot that these Kerby Rosanes books, they don't take watercolour. A lot of colouring books do, but these particular ones, but the paper in these particular ones don't, and I just completely forgot. So I decided to carry on with Polychromos pencils and forget about the watercolour pencils. If you can see here, it's really ruined in that area and it did bleed through to the back of the page. So I started off with a yellow sky, which I did regret because I just didn't like it. It was too bright and I tried to change it a few times. So I'm just adding some shading to these clouds with like a purpley colour because it's opposite to yellow. And then for the pyramids, I just wanted them to fade into the background, so I just kind of coloured them in like some light browns and made it a little bit darker for the shaded areas. And then for the ground in the background, I just brought those colours down into that as well because I just want that to fade out. And then I used this caput mortem for the foreground ground area, so I'm just going over the shaded areas that the artists already put down. I'm just copying those, just like going over the top of those. This is why I've used the Polychromos pencils, because they're quite translucent. Some other pencils might cover those lovely sketchy lines up and I wanted to keep them. Yeah, so I wanted to, this is the Caput Mortem Violet, this one, which I don't think I've used it before and I wanted to try it. So I also, if you can see, I'm adding it into the background just a little bit in the distance, just to separate that from the pyramids. And then I decided that the yellow's way too bright, so I get a purple which is opposite on the colouring wheel and I try and tone it down, but it didn't really work. It just made it look really dirty. So I do actually change the sky quite a few times throughout this picture and I end up just going back to the original yellow colour. So yeah, that looked really dirty and horrible. So then I add some of the Caput Mortem into it and that doesn't look right. So then I start to make it even darker. I'm just like desperately trying to get rid of that yellow colour. So for the wings, I'm doing them black. So again, I'm just copying off the art where the artist has put shading. I'm making that bit darker and then the other bit's like a lighter black. And then I'm just darkening this shaded area on these rocks even further with the black pencil, because I want it to really stand out against the background. So yeah, I'm making like a more of a contrast between the background rocks and the foreground rocks. And then I'm back in with that Caput Mortem violet. So I'm just blending this into the whiter area and the shaded area to give it like kind of that reddy look, so it kind of looks like Mars. And here I am erasing that Caput Mortem off the sky because it just wasn't working. I didn't like it, so I got rid of that. Okay, so this is what the picture looks like so far, and that yellow sky really does not go with the picture. So I decided to bring some of the yellow into the rocks just to make it like harmonize more, so that it doesn't look like a completely different color scheme in the sky. And I think it worked. I was quite pleased with how it turned out. So I think it's starting to look much better now, although when I was actually colouring it I didn't think it was, and before I actually started colouring this little bit that I'm doing now, I almost gave up on the picture because I just did not like the colours, and I had no idea what colours to use for this, for the actual body and the hair. But I decided to just go with browns because they'll kind of be the same colours as the pyramids. Yeah, so I use this lighter brown for this, I don't know what this kind of chest hair area, and then I made the hair more of a reddy colour, so I put burnt sienna down first of all, like as an undertone, and then I just added some shadows in with this kind of mid-brown colour, and then I go even darker here with, I think that's sepia, just to make the shadows even darker. So I'm making this area of the fur the same colour as the head hair. So I started off with the burnt sienna and then just adding more browns to add shading. And then I've made the legs black so they tie in nicely with the wings. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far, and I'm actually starting to like it now. I think the colours are blending in nicely with each other. So now I'm on to this little headpiece, and I'm bringing a splash of like really vibrant colour. So I'm going to colour this blue and gold, and this is a lovely like deep turquoise colour. It's absolutely gorgeous. So for the gold, I'm going to use gold watercolour paints. Now normally they look really flat, but I'm going to add a little bit of shading in by using a couple of different colours. I'm going to use a lighter gold and a darker gold. So this is the light gold. This is called Gold Iridescence, and it's a absolutely gorgeous, really pale gold. It's very light. And I'm also going to use this one's called Down the Rabbit Hole, and this is out of the Alice in Wonderland set. So I'm going to mix the two together to make a shaded gold colour just for the shaded areas, so that it doesn't look as flat. So I'm just mixing a little bit of this first on its own, and then I'm going to mix some with the with the Down the Rabbit Hole, which is a black, but it's like a glistening black. It's got like little glistening bits in it. So I want it nice and dark so that I can mix the two and blend them together. So that's the shadow colour that I'm going to use, along with the lighter gold. So this is a dip pen that I'm using, so I'm just going to turn it round and then get some paint on the paintbrush and then scrape it onto the back of the nib. Now normally you would just dip these into a pot of ink, but I'm just scraping the paint onto the back of the nib like this, because I would have to make up a hell of a lot of paint to be able to dip it. And then I'm going over the shaded areas where the artists put the shading. So, and this is the lighter colour, so I'm doing the darker colour to one side and the lighter colour to the other side. Now this was actually quite a larger area. I didn't really need the dip pen. I could just do this with the point of the brush, which I did in the end. You can see I'm just using the point of the paintbrush, but the dip pens are really handy for the tiny little lines and details. And also another thing to point out is to the edges I've used only the dark colour for the stripes, and it's only the middle few stripes that I've added the light and the dark, because the would appear darker kind of around the edges, and then that makes it look like more natural shading. Okay, so I'm using a different dip pen. This has got like a much finer point on it than the other one. The other one, it wasn't really working very well with the paper. It was trapping some of the paper, but this one has got more like of a smoother point, and I found this one much easier to use. This was like a larger dip pen. It's absolutely great for those tiny little areas. So I did the shaded bit on the edges first of all, and then more towards the middle I'm using the lighter gold. And then this one was almost perfect for these tiny little details. So I did it a different way this time. Instead of laying the shading down first, I put the light colour gold on all the little stripes, and then once that was dry, I added the darker gold on top, but just to the edges, and it made it look more three-dimensional. Can you see I'm just adding that darker colour, and it just makes that lovely subtle difference. It looks like those edge pieces are in shade. And then I did actually mess up a little bit there, so I'm just going back over that with the pencil. And then I've got like this brush pen with a really fine point, just to put those lines back in where I've gone over it slightly with the paint. Okay, so I'm also gonna paint the skeletons in the gold because I thought it looked so nice, it worked so well. So I'm using this absolutely brilliant little brush. Now I got this from Rosemary & Co. I know I'll get asked in the comments, so I'm just saying now where I got the brush from. People always want to know what brush it is and where you got it from. It's and I'm exactly the same myself. If I watch videos, I always want to know which brush they're using. So so the brush it's called Series 230, and you can see it's like a tiny little rigger brush, and you get such great control. So I'm colouring the dark bits first with the shaded gold, and then I'm going in and I'm just blobbing that in to the lighter areas, and then I'm not worrying about blending at this stage. I'm just getting the paint down, and then because you can reactivate the paint, I start kind of blending just the edges in so they all blend in together. Yeah, if you can see, I'm just like activating the dark bit there so that it'll blend into the light bit. And I just took my time and just did it as carefully as I could, and I was quite pleased with it. I thought it looked really effective. It's so much better using a shaded colour than just like a flat gold colour. And I decided just to leave the teeth white. I think they look okay, just left white. And then I'm just touching up, adding more dark bits where I think it needs it. So I did all the skulls, and look how shiny and lovely they look, but it's very subtle as well. It's not like really glaring gold. And this, especially the necklace and the head thing, it just blended in so well. I was so pleased with it. I think they look so nice. So then I just finished off making the little horseman, like quite colourful, all these little cushions and fabrics and stuff. I just made them multicoloured just so that it would stand out. And it's so satisfying to use these Polychromos with this like super point. I love the great big long points.